G'day mates! In today's video, we're going to talk about the update we have coming up in a few days and why it's so important. This is the last major update before FNCS begins. So are we going to see some balance changes? Is the SMG going to be nerfed? Is the AR going to be nerfed? Are the shotguns going to be buffed? A lot of things the community's been asking for. Do we have any evidence this is going to happen before FNCS? Or are we going into FNCS with the meta as it is right now? Also, a lot of you guys wondering what's going on with console FNCS. Why has it not been announced yet? Are we getting a console FNCS this season? I'll talk about that at the end of today's video after I recap all the tournaments today, including the PlayStation Cup Finals. So, there's a lot to talk about. Let's just jump into it. So what is coming up in this update next week and is actually going to have a huge impact on FNCS? So if you didn't know, we have one more big content update coming up before FNCS. It's for the new Uncharted update. With this, we're supposed to be getting a whole bunch of cosmetics, but it looks like we might be getting a major map change potentially to Covert Cavern, and even bigger yet, we are having an item added. It's the treasure map. We talked about this in a previous video, but it looks like they've tweaked the treasure map a little bit, but it's going back into the game. But is this going into competitive, and is anything else going into competitive? It is no secret whether you agree or disagree. You can't deny there's a lot of people, a very large part of the community, that wanted some updates to be made to the game before FNCS, namely around the MK7, but more importantly, the Stinger SMG. We saw the Spider-Man nerfed, and a lot of people are really happy about that. Going from 80 uses down to 20 has been a very, very good change for competitive overall, but a lot of people still asking for the Stinger SMG nerf. Whether you agree with that, whether you disagree, the fact is the same, that lots of people want it, and this is the last chance to get it. The problem is this update is scheduled to happen on the 18th, which is one day after FNCS starts. So based on updates in the past, do I think we will actually get some major changes during FNCS? And sadly, the answer is no. I don't actually think they're going to implement any major changes to the game before FNCS. If they were going to, and I've been saying this on stream for weeks now, it's going to have to be at least a few days out from FNCS, more likely about a week or two out. Epic has been doing a very good job, in my opinion, of not changing things mid-competitive tournaments. We still have some changes going on here and there, but compared to back in the day when all of a sudden we had, infinity blades being added to the game, volcanoes coming out of the map, just major changes, we haven't really had any big change during a tournament, especially not during FNCS. And because of the timing of this update coming out on the 18th and looking like items like the treasure map being based more around pubs, I don't know if we're going to get any balance change. It's very, very easy to put a balance change in the game. You don't actually need a major update for balance changes, but most of the balance changes we've been getting this season have come on the back of major updates. But with a major update coming next week and it being a day after FNCS starts, that makes me think that Epic is going to be very, very unlikely to add anything that's going to change competitive. The most likely thing is going to be this Covert Cavern update, and I'll talk about that in a second. That could change the map, and that could change one of, if not the strongest POIs in the map right now. But if you were hoping for some kind of weapon change, a Stinger nerf, something of those lines, a shotgun buff, I don't think we're getting it. For those of you guys who do care about pubs and skins, I'll run through this quickly. We do have the new Uncharted update coming to the game. The reason why I say it's an Uncharted update is obviously a big collab with Uncharted to celebrate the new movie that just dropped. So we're getting a whole bunch of skins. It looks like we're going to get 2 male skins and 2 female skins. We're going to be getting Nathan Drake and Chloe Fraser, and then we're also going to get Nathan Drake and Chloe Fraser. So they're different styles, obviously going for the throwback of the old Uncharted compared to the new ones with a Tom Holland looking character. Interesting to point out, we now have 2 Tom Holland skins in the game if you count Spider-Man, but you also got Unmasked Spider-Man, and we have, 3 Zendayas? So don't really know what's going on there, but super cool to see either way. And we're also going to be getting the treasure maps back in the game. Like I said, these could go in competitive, but I highly doubt they will go into competitive. It's just a kind of item that I don't think fits the competitive playstyle anymore. Just giving a whole bunch of players a ridiculous amount of legendary loot just for the sake of it, just off a bit of RNG, doesn't seem like the kind of style Epic's going with recently, but who knows? It could be in the game. The other big part of the update is this drill though, and this might be in competitive. Fortnite has been posting a bunch of different content showing the fact that right now the Covert Cavern is drilling towards what we think is the center of the island, which we think is the 0 point. I'm not going to go too much into the storyline and all that. Top 5 Gaming on his YouTube channels breaks down all of that. Super interesting if you care about the storyline, what's going on with the 0 point, why they're drilling towards it. But most of you guys here for me care about the gameplay and competitive. So they are drilling towards this. This could change the map massively, but I believe these changes are going to happen at the end of FNCS. It looks like one of the main reasons I can think at this point why FNCS is so short, it's only 3 weeks from start to finish, is not because they're making room for a big tournament like they did with Grand Royale. They're making room for a big update. That's what I truly believe. I can't see any other reason why Epic would condense FNCS into 3 weeks unless they had something they needed to have it done by. And one thing like that would be major map changes. Epic has gotten a lot of hate in the past for having changes mid FNCS, like I just talked about. When we had, back during, I think it was the Winter Skirmish. No, I think it was the Twitch Rivals, something like that, where the giant volcano came out of the map and completely griefed half the competitors, like the Liquid Boys, like Chap and 72 Hours back in the day. Since then, Epic has always been trying to work towards a point like it is now, where there's minimal gameplay changes during the competitive or major competitive tournaments like FNCS. And this drill and what we think it's going to turn into, which is going to be a whole bunch of lava, a whole bunch of magma. We think the bugle's going to fill with lava and turn into a volcano. Things like that. If that happened mid FNCS, as much as some of you guys would love it, a lot of the competitors wouldn't. So I think we are rushing FNCS in that 3-week period because we're going to get some major updates at the end of the season. We have already had tweets and evidence talking about how Fortnite Chapter 3 Season 2 is in the works right now, and the last update we're going to get for the season is going to be 19.40, and we're currently in 19.20, which means we still have 2 major gameplay updates. I'm talking huge updates. Remember the last one where we had dinosaurs, we had storms, we had tilted towers, like we had a bunch of crazy stuff. That is the level of updates that we have to go before the season ends, and we have potentially 2 of them that could have that much content in them. So that's what's making me think we have some really exciting stuff coming at the end of the season, but not during FNCS. Speaking of tournaments, we had 2 major tournaments on today. We had the Solo Cash Cup qualifiers and we had the PlayStation Cup finals. So going through the qualifiers, we had Bad Sniper on EU taking out first place on 178 points, 10 matches played, 3 wins, doing very, very well. We had some other big notable names right near the very top. We had Xweezy in there, Chapix, Japco doing really well as well, Kami, Malabuka, all the names you'd expect. Malabuka not setting a point record, but still playing very, very well. Also, though, still some big names missing. Benji Fishy, Mongrel, a lot of people hoping he's going to show up in solos, not showing up too massive, but the finals should be really, really exciting either way. We had Shadow taking out the first place on NA East, a pretty unknown name, but one that is really starting to perform at the moment, which is why I love these solos every single week to really show off new and upcoming players. We had Sneaky come in second. We had Militoski in third. Again, very underrated player. Then you had the names you'd come to expect. Jampa, Threats. We had Knifer in the mix, Gold, Playerfi, Acorn. Playerfi been playing really, really consistent at the moment. We also had some EU names qualifying from NA East, as always, Marine being the top of the list. Marine has been a little bit quiet so far this season, but still obviously an absolutely phenomenal player. On NA West, and this is one that a lot of people have been talking about, a lot of unknown names on NA West, but I'm loving to see it. We have Lusart Su, I believe it is Lusart. I'm not going to lie, I don't know too much about this player. We had Exy in second, who obviously I've heard a lot about, but again, we're missing some of those big names on NA West. No Epic Whale right at the very top, no Arkram, no Rex, no Reet. Even though these guys are qualifying here and there for the finals, not really seeing them at the very top of the leaderboard, but not always such a bad thing. I've been excited seeing some new faces up the top. Also, if we look over on the EU PlayStation Cup, a name you wouldn't expect to see in the top 2 for EU, that is TK, coming in second place from NA East on EU, earning a pretty penny there, but the first place went out to Blazerfied on 144 points, 6 matches, 2 wins. So very, very good performance from Blazerfied. I don't know that player in third. I apologize. I can't pronounce that one. We then had Simon, we had Voslo, we had Angle, we had a lot of players, but remember, the PlayStation Cup was more of it was a very spread thin prize pool, and something I've been asking for a really long time. I'm not going to try to pretend that Epic was listening to my videos with that one, but it's awesome to see for the console cups, they spread the prize money thin, and it led to a lot of console players getting earnings, which is what these console cups should be for. I fully understand why PC players want to go play on console when there's prize money on the line, like TK. It's awesome to see they're still doing that, but instead of the money going towards 1 or 2 people who have a PC, who are already on PC, coming back to console, it's great that some of that money can go towards the console community who is funding the prize pools by buying V-Bucks and can then maybe save up and maybe get a PC and get on the PC track. I really think that I don't want to say Epic because it's obviously put on by Sony, but whoever's led the decision making of this tournament, whether it be Epic or whether it's Sony, did a really good job with this prize pool. So I'm not focusing too much on the top 10 or anything, because it was really spread thin with the prize pool. Shout out to Dasharuni on NA East. We then also had the Crack Nashi, I believe it is, Cody RR, Jays, who we're used to seeing. We had Swexy Sounds. We had Miro coming in 6th. I thought it was interesting as well that TK did so much better on EU than NA East on his own region, coming in 37th on NA. I don't really know what happened there. I didn't unfortunately get to watch the games. I was busy at the time. NA West, though, we had Rexy in first. We had Revise, someone someone I've seen up on leaderboards a lot in second. We had Yasir in third, Dynamic in fourth, Cody again coming in fifth, so placing top 5 in both NA East and NA West. Big shout out to him. We had Jaren in there as well, so we had quite a few really good players at the top. And while we don't see too many of the console tournaments at the moment, I'm really hoping and waiting for this console Champions Cup. Surely we are going to get a console FNCS this season. We had Epic promised last season there was going to be a lot more console cups, and all we've gotten is Sony tournaments. We haven't even got tournaments that allow Xbox players to play. We have not crowned who is the best console player at the moment because we haven't had a single tournament that lets all the console players play. So I wish I had some information for you guys on what's going on with the console Champions Cup. FNCS just got announced. Is there going to be the console FNCS that we normally call it, even though it's not really an FNCS, it's just a couple days of tournaments, but it's a big prize money. It's the biggest console gets, and I'm waiting for it to be announced. You know, the season's going to end in about a month and a half. We need to find out what's going on with this tournament. It does only take one weekend, so don't think just because they haven't announced it yet, it's just not going to happen. But I'd be really upset if we didn't have at least one major console tournament this season. All right, guys, that does it for another video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please chuck a like on it, subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and I'll see you in the next one.